Alright guys, so this is another Patreon request, and this one comes from Bill McLaughlin, who asked me to do a little thing called a new version of Faction Wars. So if you don't know what Faction Wars is, this used to be a video series on my YouTube channel that I made it exclusive on my Patreon, which, shout out for my Patreon if you'd like to have a Patreon request done and check out the Faction Wars while you're at it. Just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon where you guys can hit the 4th tier and start sending me requests for videos to do here on YouTube, or if you just want to check out videos, you can just hit the 2nd tier. That's fine too. Anyway, so yeah, so he asked me, since I'm getting more and more into Warhammer, it seems like I'm getting more Warhammer stuff. Who knew? If you talk about Warhammer, it's like, you talk about it, they will come. If you talk about it, they will come. And they've been coming a lot. Giggity. Anyway, so for this faction war, basically what this one is about is actually, believe it or not, this video is going to be a faction war between, I don't know if you can call one faction German, but it was very German-inspired. So yeah, Bill has asked me to do a faction war video between the Death Corps of Krieg and Millennium from Hellsing. So yeah, now keep in mind I'm still a novice of Warhammer. I'm still like learning and all of that, but yeah. So if I do get anything wrong, please let me know in the comments below. Just try not to be just know that I'm a novice, all right? Just know that I'm still learning. Even though yes, Death Corps is my favorite faction of Warhammer. Anyway, so let's get started. So let's talk about actually Millennium first. So Millennium in Hellsing is basically known as the Last Battalion. They are a group of vampire Nazis. Just that alone should give you enough info of what these people are. Let me say that again. Vampire Nazis. This is what we're dealing with, people. Vampire Nazis. The Millennium is the last living battalion of the Nazi regime in the Hellsing universe. They are genetically enhanced vampires as well as genetically engineered soldiers. They are... The thing is that they live up to the Last Battalion. They are designed to... They basically are led by a madman by the name of the Major, who has one thing in mind. Krieg! Which is basically a war. One last war to destroy Britain. That's really it. That's all they want to do is destroy Britain, or at the very least, die doing it. At the very least, cause some damage before they all fucking die. That's the whole point of this, is that they don't really have the resources to fight a war with the whole fucking country or the whole fucking world. Just to destroy London, and that's really it. But they do have the forces to really like hold off a massive invasion. Like they do have the resources and the firepower to really like hold their own in various forms. They're brutal. They're violent, and they have some very dangerous assassins in here, and warriors. I am counting that in this, they would still have the Dandy Man, they'd still have Rip Van Winkle, they'd still have Schrödinger, they'd still have the Valentine brothers, and they'd still have Zoran Blitz, and the Captain, the werewolf. So, yeah, you mix all of that, and also, like, whatever ungodly abominations the Doctor makes, and the Major himself, who is just completely fucking bonkers, you have a recipe for a dangerous enemy you want to fight. But the same can be said for the Death Corps. The Death Corps of Krieg are a faction of guardsmen who are the embodiment of cowabunga it is, because the word stop is not in this group's vocabulary, nor is retreat, or surrender, or mercy, or... you get the idea. There's the Death Corps of Krieg are from the planet of Krieg. They were once a vast, vibrant world until their ancestors were like, fuck the Imperium, we're gonna go fly solo. And then it led to a civil war that basically destroyed them and devastated the planet. And those who remain are like living in the nuclear ash. And it has led to some be like speculative of, are you guys clones? That kind of leads to that. So these faction of guardsmen are relentless. That's the best way to do it. If you want a war of this is the last group you want to fight a war of attrition with. Because the moment you say trench warfare, their motherfuckers are already taking out shovels and digging holes. That's what they're doing. Because they are the masters of attrition warfare. They're also really good at running blindly at their opponents. They will basically throw a shit ton of warriors again and again into a situation, no matter what. They also have some very heavy military. They have horsemen that are that have spears that are explosive. They are very much equipped like World War I soldiers in some cases. So it's kind of like if you had the World War I Germany fight World War II Germany in a way. It's kind of funny like that. Anyway, so what would it be like if Millennium and Krieg went in the Death Corps went to war? Now, the big thing in here is numbers. The last battalion of Millennium is literally a battalion. It's literally just a good couple thousand men, and that's really it. Whereas the Death Corps is a lot more than that. The Death Corps of Krieg is a lot more, like, it's a fucking planet. And these guys have the numbers on their side. They also have vast amount of training, and like I said, they can wait you out. Like, they will gladly wait your ass out until you're dead. That's kind of what they do. They also have no problem of throwing men after men after men at you until you're finally gone. So really, but the thing is like, it's really hard to fight an opponent who makes ghouls of your soldiers. So they could like make more ghouls and undead from the from the guardsmen, kind of like what they did in the Battle of Rocks. That's a whole thing. Anyway, but the guardsmen do have also futuristic weaponry. You got to remember that you know, Millennium is still like using conventional modern day weapons, whereas the guardsmen of Krieg are literally using lasers. That's really, you can't beat lasers, really. And also, like I said, if this becomes a long war, it doesn't matter how long it is. And yeah, vampires are immortal. Yeah, they are essentially immortal, but when it comes to attrition, like I said, the longer you fight the Krieg, the longer you are going to just prolong your death. That's really how it is. I love Millennium, well, I love Helsing, and I love the Major as a villain. He's probably my favorite villain in anime, and I love the Millennium as a villain group in general. I don't like what they do or what they represent, but they're really cool villains. But I am giving this to the Death Corps of Krieg. More people, more bodies that they can use, and better tech. Granted, it's like, in most case of Warhammer, it's like a bunch of cavemen who found out a shotgun is real. It's kind of like that. But I'm going to give this one to the Krieg. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of it? Who do you think would win, Millennium or the Death Corps? Just comment below, let me know. And once again, I'd like to thank Bill McLaughlin for this Patreon request. And like I said earlier, if you'd like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below. Head on over to my Patreon, where you guys can start sending requests for videos for me to do here on YouTube. But other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.